love lives here.
As well. So this year here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, we are working with the theme of Riverside Thrive, Live Your Best Life. And for the past couple of months, we have been working, and we're continuing to work a little bit more with laying the foundation. So we've been laying the foundation for the past 2 months or so, 1.5 months. We're still, doing some of that work. But we're laying the foundation, and last week we talked about, with Vision 2023, we did a deeper dive and an exploration of what we are being called to embrace, what we are being called to welcome into our lives, right? And we call it with open arms, or open your heart, rather. Open your heart, because it's being expansive and opening your heart and welcoming that which is you're being called to welcome into your space. And today we are looking at releasing. So it's put it down. Today we're talking about putting it down. Not a put down, that's completely different, but putting it down, setting it down, or Elsa that stuff, like let it go, right? LTSG, let that stuff go, all right? Or substitute another S word, I don't care, whatever works for you. So we're talking about releasing today, putting it down. So what would be possible for you if you set down that heavy bag, that heavy burden, that big old suitcase or multiple suitcase or steamer trunks that you've been carrying with you? What would happen? What would be available to you if you just set that stuff down and then did like the song said and walked away, or began walking forward, taking steps forward without all of this luggage, without all of this baggage dragging behind you from years past? What might be possible for you if you were to do that? Possibility of discovery, peace, infinite potential, joy, freedom, right? So Ernest Holmes says in the Declaration of Principles that the highest goal, or the ultimate goal of life, is complete emancipation from discord of every nature. Complete emancipation from discord, from disharmony. Complete freedom from the baggage of every nature. To set ourselves free. To release that which no longer serves, like the song says. Walking away from things that served me in the past but don't serve me anymore. Stepping forward and walking away. Michael Beckwith, Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, says that 100% of spiritual growth is about releasing or letting go. 100% of it. Because, as we talk about here, right, there's nothing to be healed, only the truth to be revealed. So if we have piled on all this stuff on top of the truth of who we are, we have been socialized to believe things. Our family experiences, our family of origin, our experiences in childhood, our experiences in school, our experiences in life, we operate through these filters, through these lenses, right? And we continue to pile on situations or experiences on top of the truth of who we are. So when we begin to unpack that box, that moving box, that big old suitcase, that steamer trunk, when we begin to unpack that, then we're really getting in there and we are able to reveal that which is already inside. And you're thinking, yeah, but I got a house full, and then I got a storage unit on top of that I've been paying on for years. I haven't opened those boxes in 20 years. And I got stuff just laying around the house, all cluttered up, right? That's an indicator, though, that we're holding ourselves back. We're holding on to the past. We're actually looking in this direction, thinking that something back here is going to be useful up there, so let me hold on to it. Because it might, one day, that button might come in handy if I lose a button on my shirt. It might. I don't know. Which is why we have the dance cookie tins with all the sewing notions in it, right? Everybody had it, right? My grandmother certainly did. We hold on to that stuff. But how much freer, how much lighter could we be if we had just a little backpack, just a little thing to carry with us forward, or nothing at all, or only the essentials? There's, KonMari, or Marie Kondo, right? She's a famous organizer. You may have seen her on Netflix or one of the channels where she goes to people's homes and helps them organize, and they sort through all the clutter and everything, and they talk about what sparks joy, right? And you keep those things that spark joy, and you release those things that no longer spark joy or no longer serve. But when you release them, you let them go with gratitude. You say thank you, and you let them go, and you pass them on to whomever else may be able to use them. Or you still thank them and then just dump them in the circular file and let them, go to the landfill, I guess, right? Or to the recycling bin. So there is this principle, there's this idea of releasing in order to move forward, so that you're not dragging around the ball and chain. You're not dragging around the stones. You're not dragging around all the past, all the stuff. Because, my beloveds, all of the limitations that you have been experiencing or that you are continuing to experience, let me rephrase that. Not all. Most of the baggage you are carrying around with you, most of those limitations are what? They're self-imposed limitations. They're limitations of our own making. They're limitations of what I have created around me, the scaffolding that I have created around me to protect me, the scaffolding that I put in place to maintain my ego, the scaffolding that I put in place to maintain the status quo, the scaffolding that I put in place. And for those things that are true limitations that are outside of, that are societal limitations, let me rephrase it that way. For those limitations that are societal limitations, cultural limitations, those may be harder to change, but the way that we work within them, we do have control over how we work within it, how we work to dismantle it, how we work to change it. But all of that starts with a change inside. It has to start inside. Not saying that it doesn't exist, but I am saying the way we work with it, the way we work in it and through it, we have to start right where we are. We have to start eliminating, we have to start letting go of the fear within ourselves. We get to start letting go of the hatred that we may, or the anger, or the frustration, or the sense of separation. We begin to let go of that within ourselves, no longer giving it a place to operate here. And when I no longer give it a place to operate here, then that ripples out, that in consciousness, I've ceased to give it a vehicle, a vessel through which to operate. And so when I reveal my truth, when the truth is revealed within me, when I'm shedding and letting go and releasing, then I'm also doing a greater work by working on myself, working on my individualized consciousness. Then I'm creating an opening, I'm creating a possibility for greater things and greater changes in the world around me. Good so far? Following so far? Okay. So earlier this year, Ed led you through the visioning process and for Vision 2023. And I've invited you, and I continue to invite you to continue to vision for your life. We do have a video on our YouTube channel that is a visioning video. I walk you through the visioning process. I facilitate the visioning process. You can go, you can listen, and you can follow right along if you need somebody to facilitate it for you. I recommend doing it regularly, at least twice a month, perhaps weekly. I would not do it daily because then you might start seeing diminishing returns because then you're looking for something too much. So I would say about weekly is a good rhythm to open to Spirit's highest idea. And so when we open to Spirit's highest idea of your life, we open to that, but then we also ask those questions like I've shared with you before. What must I embrace? What must I embody or become? What must I release? And is there anything else? So today is the release. We're looking at release. And as I shared with you last week, I have looked at this idea of spiritual discernment and how do we move from vision into actually beginning to take action, right? Because if we're just sitting there and it's like we're visioning and we're open, we have a tendency either to want to plan and run and get ahead and, all right, I saw Kermit the Frog, so let me go buy Kermit the Frog gear, and I'm going to buy Kermit the Frog socks, I'm going to buy a Kermit the Frog shirt, and I'm going to embody Kermit the Frog. I'm going to make a plan to go to Sesame Place, and I'm going to make a plan to go to the Children's Network, and I'm going to, right? It's not about that. What we have the opportunity to do with visioning is we have the opportunity to align with the vision. Kermit may be part of it, or he may not be, but we have the opportunity to align with the vision. How do we align with it? By what we must embrace and what we must release, what we must embody, what we must become, what must we release. So I've been working on this spiritual discernment piece. The other thing that happens sometimes is rather than the do, and the plan, people just sit back and all right, it'll be revealed. It's still going to be revealed. It's been 4 years. It's still going to be revealed, right? And we get in this paralysis of waiting for some kind of real clarity of Spirit saying, do it, right? So there's this middle ground, right, that we talk about between treat, meaning pray, and moving your feet, meaning taking action. So the same thing can happen here. When we get sufficient information, and Spirit lets us know when we've gotten sufficient information, we can then begin to not plan to create the vision, but we can then begin to take steps to greater align ourselves with the vision so that we're actually taking action upon that which has been revealed. So we did some of that last week with the embrace. This week we're going to do it with release. Sound good? All right. So I invite everybody just to take a nice deep breath in. And if you want to take notes however you want to. If you don't want to take notes, that's fine. Just be present with it, what is. And you can always watch this again later. So breathing in, I invite you just to close your eyes and settle in. Trusting that we are being breathed by Spirit. It is the ever-givingness of life, withholding nothing. Our breath proves this principle. We take no thought for it whatsoever. We simply allow. And Spirit is maintaining and sustaining its beloved creation, which each one is. There is an infinite love, intelligence, a wisdom of the ages that knows, that it knows, that it knows, that it knows, that is ever present within each one of us. And so we tap into this wisdom, the wisdom of the heart, the wisdom of spirit. And we allow the vision for our lives of 2023, allow the vision of your life for 2023 to come into your awareness. Allow yourself to be present with it. And today we are focusing on release. So I invite you to ask your inner wisdom self, your heart space, what am I being guided to release today? What am I called to release, to let go of, to put down? What am I being called to surrender or have come forth for healing? What am I being guided to release today? And with the next breath, what would support me in releasing it? What would support me in letting this go? And with the next breath, what spiritual practice would assist me in this process of letting it go? What spiritual practice would assist me in this process of releasing and letting go? And breathing in again. What is something I can do to release it or let it go? What is something I can do to release it or let it go? What is an action that I can take? What is an action that I can take? What is something I can do to release it or let it go? What is an action that I can take? And with the next breath, what is my next indicated step? What is my next indicated step? Could be a micro step, could be a micro action. What is my next indicated step? And then the final question for this morning, for this process. Am I willing to release it and take the next step? Am I willing to release this thing that's been holding me back, the self-imposed limitation? Am I willing to release it and take the next indicated step? Again, there's no right or wrong, yes or no, or maybe. All valid, it's all just information. There's no judgment. I'm willing to release it and take the next indicated step. And I invite us to take a nice, deep, collective breath on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And release. And return your awareness to this time and space, wherever you're located, in this three-dimensional thing we call Earth, in the Earth plane. So just like last week, what I shared with you is that a yes or a no, either way, it doesn't matter. If you got a yes for your next indicated step, then your homework or your assignment or your home practice, your invitation this week is to take that step. If you're willing to do it, if you're willing to say yes to releasing it, and you're willing to take the next step, you've said yes, you got a confirmation that it's a yes, then go ahead and do it. Take that next step. Because every step, like I said before, every step we take, no matter how tiny, every step we take in the forward direction moves us into greater alignment with the vision of your life. It moves you closer with every step. And as you take one small step, Spirit takes 10,000 to meet you. One small step has a huge impact. So if you're still having trouble figuring out what that action step is, maybe it is, I want to have a session with a practitioner. That's the action that was revealed, is to have a session with a practitioner. Break it down even further. What's the next step you got to do? What's the first step you got to do? Okay, I want to have a session with a practitioner. Oh, maybe what I ought to do is go online to Riverside CSL and click on practitioners and then send an email to one of the practitioners that I want to work with. Maybe it's just that step, or maybe I need to call, or maybe the very first indicated step is right after service, go out and get prayer in the prayer room, right? And meet a practitioner face to face, right? So that it's the next indicated step. Break it down. Break it down so that it's even a micro step, because then each micro step moves you that much closer to the greater experience, to the greater step, and moves you further along. You see how that works? The micro steps. It doesn't have to be big and big and like, ooh, because we take on too much, right? Just take that one micro step. One micro step. And if you got a no right now, if you have a no, like, no, right now I'm not ready to release this, or I'm not ready to take the next indicated step for whatever reason, that's perfectly fine too. But what that then invites you to do as your next indicated step is to take another deep dive back in, to go back in and see about identifying the belief, identifying the limitation that is preventing you from even taking that one step. That would be your next indicated step. It's just information. And then say, oh, okay, I see that. So now, what can I do with that information? Because now we're at choice again. This is how we empower ourselves to continue to move forward, by being self-reflective and then taking action, by being self-reflective and then taking action. And this is how we begin to move forward. And like last week, you can take it into spiritual mind treatment. You can take it into prayer. And at that realization stage, then you see what it is that you are releasing, that you are letting go. You're making the affirmation of what it is that you are setting down, putting it down. And that becomes the body of the spiritual mind treatment or the affirmative prayer. So today what we've done is we've tapped back into the vision. We've tapped back into what it is that you're being guided to release. Now that you also know what might support you in doing that, who might be able to support you, what practices, what spiritual practices might be able to support you. These are all places that you can begin to take action on. What supports, what spiritual practice supports, then what action you're willing to take, and then breaking it down to the micro action. So that when you walk out of here today, you can walk out and begin releasing that which no longer serves. How's that sound? How do you think you'll feel when you're releasing that which no longer serves? Free, lighter, joyful, more peaceful, less anxious, less worried. Does that feel good? Does that feel good? Guess what? When we do that too, we feel more deeply connected with the source of our being, with the who of who we are. And isn't that wonderful? All right, beloveds, this week, put it down. Put it down. If it's no longer serving, don't keep carrying it around. Let the story go. Let the story go. Let the stuff go. Organize it, KonMari it, let it go to its furthest and highest good. We good? All right. So let's have our practitioners and core council members please stand and surround the sanctuary. I invite our band to take the platform here to get ready. All right. All right, so I invite us to go within, to turn within one more time, and I invite you to close your eyes if you are comfortable in doing so, and let us enter into the united state of consciousness, into the one consciousness that is all, through all, as all, recognizing that there is just this one power, recognizing there is just this one presence, recognizing there is just this one in love intelligence that is back of all things, that brought forth all of life, all of creation. Therefore, there is just this one life, this one beautiful, magnificent, glorious, holy life, divine life that is absolutely all things. It is love, it is joy, it is peace, it is harmony, and it is freedom. And I recognize that because there is only this one, I recognize that it is, I unify myself with it, that I am that I am. I am a divine emanation, impartation, manifestation, demonstration of this one life. That I am this one life made manifest. That I am this one love intelligence. That the who of who I am is infinite and eternal wisdom, and it is ever available and ever accessible to me, through me, as me. And as I know that this is true of me, I know that this is true of everyone gathered here this day, that each one is one with the one. Each one is unified with the one, and each one is unified with one another, that we are one whole being. We are the divine in multiplicity, but we do not have uniformity, yet we are all one. We are individualized expressions of the one life, recognizing each other as the divine that each one is, as ourselves, as spirit. And so I speak my word here and now for this beloved community. I speak a word of release. All that has come up this morning or this day to be released through the individualized consciousness of the people gathered here this day, I release all that has come up for them to release. I know that each one takes the action, the micro action. At some point, they take the micro action that has been revealed for them to take. Each one steps closer to being in greater alignment with the high idea of their lives, with the vision of 2023 for each individual person. And as we do this collectively, we release the collective unconscious. We release the barriers that have been in our collective way. We release those things that have been holding us back as a community. We release those things like lack and limitation and smallness and fear or doubt that may have been holding us back as a community. And together as a community, we let that stuff go. We just set it down. We put it down. It no longer serves. And so we step forward in our greater yet to be. We step closer to the high idea of Centers for Spiritual Living, of a world that works for everyone and all of creation. We step into that greater idea of living our best lives here and now. And so I give thanks for this realization. I give thanks for all that has been expressed and shared, and the thanks for the transparency that each one has allowed themselves to be, the vessel through which each one has created life, love, harmony, peace, joy. And I release this word into the law, knowing that it is already done, knowing that it is complete, knowing that it is fulfilled, it is maintained, it is sustained, it is demonstrated here and now. I let it be, and so it is.
Love